the person we're introducing next, I'm really, really happy. As a matter of fact, I don't know, Igor, if you recall, but we did have the opportunity to meet and speak a couple of times in the traffic industry. Igor is a specialist. He is one of the best in the world. He started an email marketing business out of his bedroom. He grew it to $10 million in just 7 years. He's an expert in lead generation. He's regularly invited to speak and consult with the world's largest digital businesses. You just heard a short while ago about Igor is going to be speaking next week, along with Peter, at this event that's coming up. He's on something that is a really cool. It's a brand new podcast. Okay, the list building. As a matter of fact, somebody just piped in here on my Skype that they've been using Igor's stuff for years. He's a master email marketer. He's widely accepted as the world's top work-from-home income opportunity marketer by the top experts in internet marketing. The guy's only 29 years old, and he's done all of these things. Igor, I follow you on Facebook. I watch the stuff that you do. Later in this morning's presentation, we're going to offer everybody an opportunity to get involved with you, and I'm going to encourage them to stick around, get out a pencil and a paper, so we can really bring some people here some real truth. Igor Kipitz, come on out. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate the introduction, and I'm really happy that our paths have crossed in the past, and I was able to perhaps assist you, with your lead generation.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So I'm guessing this is it. This is the big moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
This is your moment, Igor.
The spotlight, I can feel it. All right, well, thank you very much for inviting me over, and thank you for the opportunity to come on and help everyone understand how to better get leads for their business. The easy way, the automated way, the kind of way that most people are still not aware of, because I see most people are still getting leads the hard way. Now, it's also important to mention that one of the things that Peter mentioned earlier about quitting your day job too soon, we're actually going to get into that as I go into my origin story, but I did that. I actually made the mistake. I did quit my job too soon. I had to get another one later, but that's such a common mistake. It only shows that whatever Peter teaches you in the book that you can get for free is actually, it comes from a real world experience. And I am pumped to meet Peter for the first time at the event and to share the stage. I'm speaking on the first day with Omar and with all the other speakers. So if you guys are still considering whether or not, if you're still on the fence about whether or not to come to the event, I can't recommend for you to come highly enough. Events are often referred to as the life-changing thing. For me, they're not necessarily life-changing because I've built my business mostly without going to events, without much speaking, etc. I've only started doing speaking recently, and I've only started going to events recently. But what I can tell you is that when I became successful, some of the most fruitful relationships, some of the most profitable relationships I've ever developed were as a result of going to events. I found my mentors at events. I found new friends. I found new business partners. For example, my mentor, Tom Beal, he's going to be speaking as well. I met him literally in the bathroom at the event at a break. So anyway, enough rambling about events. Let's go ahead and dive right in for what you guys came for, and that is to discover an easy, automated way to get targeted leads that you need to grow your home business. Now, have you ever wondered what it would feel like to wake up every day with an extra 50, maybe 500 in new leads looking to join your business? I know it sounds kind of absurd, maybe even extreme to some of you, because you're maybe struggling to get even 5 people to join your business, but that's actually a reality. And I really want you to try and think about what it would feel like if you never had to worry about where the next sale is going to come from. Now think about the situation for a second, because it's so different from what you may be living right now. Right now, there may be lots of uncertainty in your life. You may be sort of hustling, right? That word is often thrown out there. You gotta hustle, you gotta hustle. Well, what if I said that you don't need to hustle? What if I said that to get 50, 100, 150, even 500 leads per day for your home-based business does not require you to quote-unquote hustle and work hard and harass people on social media? What if I told you there's an actual lead source, a traffic source you can tap, regardless of your previous experience, regardless of your budget, in a very predictable and automated way. And what if I said this traffic source has not only been proven to work for years, but is also going to be working for years to come? It's the same traffic source that I've used to generate 4,331,656 leads in the last 7 years alone, without talking to a single person on the phone, without harassing friends and family, without going on social media, and trying to befriend strangers and pretend I care about their life and I really want to help them, even though I know nothing about them, without hotel meetings or anything like that. Okay, I'm also going to share with you, which is, to me, this is really exciting because it will open your eyes to one of the biggest misconceptions out there. I will share with you why Facebook ads is the last place where you should be advertising your online business right now. And I'm also going to share with you how to get people excited to work with you without having to fake it till you make it or lie about your earnings. Because I don't know about you, but I had to do that a lot when I got started in my internet network marketing business. And I really, really hated that because I felt that my potential customers could see right through me, and that's why they didn't join me in business. So my promise to you on this call, that by the end of this training, you'll know how to get as many targeted leads as you wish at the push of a button as soon as 24 hours from now. And for me to be able to help you achieve that, for me to be able to show you that, first, I would like to pose a question and answer that question for you. The question is, what is a lifestyle business? A lifestyle business is a 6 or 7-figure business that is built on a system and revolves around your life and your schedule and doesn't force you to plan your life around a business. Now, why is it important? Why lifestyle businesses are important? Well, because first off, you get to make money and you have the time freedom to enjoy the money, which a lot of times, when people talk about making big money, they also feel that to make that happen, you need to sacrifice lots of time. You almost need to sell your soul to the devil. That's the perception I'm getting from the outside world. Now, the other reason why lifestyle business is important is because you get paid regardless of whether you work or not, allowing you to take care of yourself and your family even if something happens to you. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a 5.5-year-old daughter. I have parents who live in Israel. My dad is disabled. He's getting on a dialysis machine every other day. My mom is retired. I retired her several years ago. And, if God forbid something happens to me, this is it. They're done. Like, there's no one can help them. But through the systems that I was able to build for myself and help my clients build, I was able to build this legacy, legacy securing foundation. In other words, if I get hit by a bus or get into a car accident tomorrow, the systems I've built will be able to take care of my family with some maintenance. And thankfully, I have people in my life who I've taught how to maintain these systems. Now, I realize these thoughts are kind of weird for a 29-year-old. 29-year-olds don't usually think about dying or legacy. But for me, it is an important element of success. If I'm spending time and money to build a business, this better be a business that pays off big dividends for a long, long time and that can run without me actually having to run. Now, the third reason why a lifestyle business is because you get to live up to your true potential. Again, this is something that is very personal to my heart. I feel really bad anytime I know I'm not doing my absolute best, anytime I know I'm not living up to my true potential in any area of my life. So if you got into this business to just make a little bit of an extra income, this training may not even be for you right now. But what I can tell you is that if you're in this business because you feel that this is where you can apply yourself to reach your true potential, then I'm excited to share with you what I got in store, because it will allow you to create the automated lead stream, an automated way of driving leads for your business, so you can then invest the time not into driving the leads, which is a very tedious work, but into growing your business, helping your clients, assisting the people in your life, and reaching your true potential. Now, you may be wondering, okay, Igor, I get it, but you started your business years ago, you've made tens of millions of dollars, you've helped lots of people, you've got this reputation, you're established, I'm not like you, I'm not like Peter. Peter has been in business for 30 years, he created different companies, he created software, he helped people make over $200 million, why me? Why now? How can it work for me? Well, first off, let me answer the question of why now. The reason why you have to pay attention right now, you have to build systems right now that help you drive new leads for your business, is because living necessities are getting more expensive by the day, and you can't keep up with a job. Like your job income, as much as it is important for you to be able to maintain your life on a certain level and for you to be able to perhaps even fund your business, for you to be able to pay your bills, not worry about that while you grow your business on the side. You see, if you don't do something quickly, you'll fall behind. You'll just fall behind because the cost of living is always growing. It's always going up, and the paycheck that your boss is willing to pay you, or the government pension you're getting, or the social security assistance you're getting, is never going to be high enough to help you cover for all these and still maintain a comfortable life. You will have to keep cutting down, tightening your belt until a point where it's no more, until you simply run out of room of, out of holes in your belt. So the other reason, the second reason why now, is because you're running out of time. Now think about it. I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing, just like many of my clients, you're over 30, over 40 years old. And I'm 29, but even I realize that my time on this planet is very, very limited. So if you're older than me right now, you really do not have the time to sit there and do nothing, because the world is moving really fast. And unless you act fast to create the systems you need to build the income you need to support yourself and your family, you will find yourself without health, without support, and without the ability, most importantly, which is most important for me. I don't know how many of you can actually resonate with that, but for me, it is critical that I'm always able to help my family. It is critical that I'm always able to be the rock they can lean on financially. That is why systems, for me, systems are the biggest thing in my business. And the third reason is because that's the only way to build a legacy. If you want your effort that you're putting in today to pay off for years to come, if you would like to work once and have the results of your work come in month after month, week after week, you absolutely have to build a lifestyle business, a business that operates on systems and does not require you to hustle every day to make it work. So you may be wondering, who am I to tell you all this, right? Why me? And obviously Joe gave me an impressive introduction. In fact, it was so impressive, even I would like to work with myself. But let me give you a couple of things, couple of things out of my past that will help you understand why I know exactly what you're going through right now, even though I come from a different country and I'm a little bit younger and I didn't have the same life as you, but still, I know where you are right now, I understand the struggles, and I know how to fix them. So I've built my business out of my bedroom, as Joe mentioned, and I've been making a full-time income from home and living a lifestyle, having a lifestyle business since December 2010, which is about 8 years now. In fact, it was 8 years in March. Now, this is awesome, which means I was able to sustain my success in an industry where people quite literally go out of business every couple of months. I can't even begin telling you how many times I've seen marketers experience great success, and then 3 months later, you never hear from them. They simply disappear because they could not sustain it. So, over the years, I've stuck with what I know, and all I've done is I've built the lead generation systems I needed in order to create a business that pumps the profits on its own, which means in the last 8 years, I've never had to go back to a day job. In the last 8 years, I never had to say no to my family. In the last 8 years, I've done things that most people consider to be a lifetime achievement. For example, I purchased an apartment in cash back in Israel just so my parents have a place to live and they never have to worry about rent. I literally pulled it out of my company, out of the profits I've made. I paid a huge tax. Israel has ridiculously high taxes. I paid a huge tax, over $150,000, and I paid in cash. I bought them a 4-bedroom apartment so they never have to worry about it. My mother is getting a salary every month from my company. She's helping me out in the company, of course, very low maintenance sort of work, something that even my mother, a music teacher, has nothing, doesn't know anything about computers, can do. And she now has a small income coming in residually for life, thanks to the systems I've built. I've also helped other people, not just my family members. I've helped tens of thousands of people to kickstart their own lifestyle businesses by helping them, by getting them the leads they needed to grow them, the leads they needed to kickstart things up. And I'm hopeful that by the end of the call, you will also see and recognize why I can help you do the same. I am the world's leading authority on making money with email in the work from home space. Now, this is really important to understand. I don't specialize in helping businesses in the weight loss niche, in the dating niche, in the Forex niche, in the supplement niche. In any of these niches, I don't consult offline businesses. I am a pure biz up junkie. That's where I started, and you'll hear about my story in a minute. And this is where I am. I love this industry. I love the business opportunity space. I love the direct selling industry. I love the affiliate marketing side of it. I love the MLM. MLM is actually where I got my start. A very bad start, but still I got my start in MLM. So I love MLMs, and I operate and specialize and simply can't live without the work from home, make money from home space. So everything I'm going to be sharing with you today, if you're in that space, if you're trying to build a team in this space, this is for you. Now, if you're in other spaces, if you're promoting, for example, if you're a part of an MLM that has a supplement attached to the plan, to the compensation plan, please take the principles that I will teach you and simply apply to your business. So we've helped, for example, I have lots of clients in Skinny Body Care, which is, I think, a company about something to do with either weight loss or beauty. So still, we're able to help them get more leads, even though they are technically not in the exact same space. But at the end of the day, as long as you're helping other people get rich, this call will be of tremendous value to you. So I do want you to take lots of notes. Now, I also regularly share the microphone with world's top speakers, best-selling authors, and most respected marketers on my award-winning podcast, The List Building Lifestyle, which Joe mentioned earlier. And I've actually hosted Peter recently on the podcast, and that episode is going to be going live real soon. So you may want to go to listbuildinglifestyleshow.com and make sure to subscribe to not miss that episode. But besides that, we also hosted Robert Kiyosaki, Jeff Hoffman, the founder of Priceline.com and Booking.com. We've hosted Perry Marshall. We will host Omar Martin, who came in shortly for this call, and many, many, many other the world's leading authorities on how to earn from home, how to make money, how to succeed in direct selling, and it's just an incredible project, and I feel really privileged of having been able to conduct it for as long as I have now, 2 years at this point, and having hosted the caliber of guests out of my really modest home over the internet. The internet is incredible. So now that you know what I'm all about and how I can help you, I would really like to share with you where I got my start, because it's important to me that you understand that I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. In fact, my family immigrated to Israel from Ukraine 2 months before my 12th birthday. We were alone in a new country where people spoke a backwards language. If you don't know, Hebrew is actually right to left language, while all the other languages besides Chinese is left to right. Chinese, I think, is up down. And so imagine me coming in almost 12 years old, and it's a different language, it's different people, and my mom and dad make a decision to find a job instead of going through the 6-month immigration assistance program where they could learn to speak Hebrew. So they just don't learn the language, and they just go straight for the workplace, obviously getting the minimum wage job. And they did what all immigrants done at the time. They got a job at a local facility making towels called magavot. With 2 paychecks coming in, we felt more comfortable and more secure as we went. We could even afford to buy a used Fiat Tempra, which was a really bad car, and a Motorola cell phone, which at the time was pretty much the only cell phone you can get. But 6 months later, something happened that shaped the course of my life forever. While at work, my dad felt a sharp pain in his chest. He was rushed into the ER where the doctors rushed him into an open heart surgery. I think it's called a bypass in English, and they saved his life. But my dad was never the same person ever again. It took him 8 months to recover from surgery. Sometimes he couldn't even pour himself a cup of tea or put his own pants on. I had to do it for him because my mom was working full time. It took him another 8 months to find a below minimum wage job as an overnight security because no one wanted to hire a 48-year-old with a heart condition. It's just not a good business decision. So my dad would get hired for these odd little jobs. Then he would get fired every 3 months and get rehired 2 months later. And it was a trick that the Israeli employers pulled to avoid paying benefits. So my dad could never get seniority or any of these health benefits. They always had to fire him and then rehire him a couple of months later. So he would get a little bit of income, lose it, get a little bit of income, lose it. It was just a constant struggle. So I was born in Ukraine. And before coming to Israel, my family always did well. We weren't rich, but we never struggled either. And my dad ran a small business after he retired from the Red Army. And I never cared for anything, to be honest with you, until we moved. In Israel, though, I was literally the poorest kid in class. I had nothing. I didn't have a personal computer. I couldn't play PlayStation because I didn't have one, or an Xbox. I didn't have any allowances or anything else that my friends whose parents were healthy and worked full time had. And I remember asking my mom if she could buy me a football, which I believe if most people in this call are from North America, you call it soccer, right? So I just wanted a football or a soccer ball. And she said no, and she said that it wasn't a necessity, so we couldn't really afford it. Now, I also loved computer games growing up, so I started spending less time at home and more time at my friend's house because that was the only way for me to play computers. I would sit there for about an hour or two watching him play, and then when he get tired, I would take over and play myself. So I was spending so much time at my buddy's house one summer that his mom, she invited me into the kitchen, poured me a cup of tea and started interrogating me with, interrogative style questions about what was going on at home. She was afraid she'd have to adopt me at some point because I was pretty much at their place all day long. She fed me 2 times a day. It was ridiculous. So that's when my desire to get rich was born. I was always told growing up that I needed to study hard. I was told that that's the way to get the good life. So I studied. I studied harder than anyone in my class. I was a straight A student. When I turned 15, I got accepted into the most prestigious educational program in Israel, the Israeli Air Force Technological College. I spent the next 6 years with one goal in mind: be the best in my class, get accepted into the high-quality military program where I could get real-world experience and then get snatched up by some privately owned military contractor that paid me $5,000 per month, gave me a company car, and an all-paid-for cell phone. That was the dream. But boy, was I wrong. My last year in college, I was working on my graduation project. I traveled to an Air Force facility and worked on an F-16 fighter jet black box, which sounds kind of cool when you think about it, and anyone who can do something like that should get paid a lot of money. But I spent 6 to 12 hours a day at the facility every day for a couple of months, and a few weeks into my project, I started chatting with a few people who worked at the base who completed their project several years prior and got their dream jobs with the private military contractors. And guess what? None of them were rich. They were always complaining about money, about bills, about not being able to go on vacation when they wanted because the contractor wouldn't release them because they had to work all the time. They would complain about getting phone calls at 2 a.m. in the morning, because they had to come down and fix something. So it wasn't anything like the kind of life I imagined I will have. So I go ahead and I share my concerns with a friend who says there's this guy, Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote a book about how most rich people in the world aren't educated and they don't have good jobs. So it's not about school. And that basically, if I wanted to make money, I was in the wrong path because there was none where I was headed. Now remember, all I want is to get rich. And I say, you know what? Fine. If the path I'm on does not work out, if the path I'm on is not the path I'm supposed to be, fine. Give me the damn book. I'll read it and I'll see what's up. So I grabbed the book and I read it in a day. Okay, I'm talking, of course, about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I'm sure many of you on the call have read. And if you haven't, you absolutely have to read the book. It is right up there with all the other books that changed my life. So that book teaches me three important lessons. Lesson number one, you do not need to be born rich to get rich. Most people who get rich start out broke. So that was the first big moment, right? So I can actually be a wealthy individual even if I wasn't born into a wealthy family, even though I live in a shithole country, even though I come from a really poor family that did not succeed, and it just didn't make any sense at first. But I took Robert Kiyosaki's word for it because he wrote a book. Okay, the guy wrote a book. His face was on the cover, and mine wasn't. So I listen. That's how I am. When I find a mentor, when I find someone who succeeded at something that I want to succeed at, I shut up and I listen. The second lesson I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's book is that you don't need natural talent or special skill set to get rich. The skills of the rich are attainable through coaching. Now, that was another big moment for me because I thought that I was destined to be a loser. I thought that I was born fat and insecure and didn't have any social skills and couldn't learn anything besides perhaps math and things they taught you in school. But when it came to charisma, leadership, selling, marketing, building tribes, when it came to making money, I did not see it as a skill set you could actually learn as if you were, go to college for 2 years and become an engineer. Like just didn't see it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how money worked. So, Robert Kiyosaki introduced me that idea that skills are attainable through coaching. You must find someone to model. And the third lesson was if you don't have the money, which I didn't, or ideas, which I didn't, or a business plan, which I for sure didn't, network marketing is the best place to start. Now, at the time, all I know about network marketing is that my mom tried to do Herbalife, which I knew was network marketing, and she kind of failed. And for the most part, she got involved because that's how she would get discounts for Herbalife products that she used. Now, at this point, I'm really, really pissed. I'm mad. And I'm like, you know what? To hell with school. Like, I have this much left. I will finish what's left, but I'm not going to that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing what they wanted me to do, which, after school, after I complete my project, I also had to complete 4 years in the Israeli army. So I recognize how the education system failed me. Okay, how it failed all of us pretty much. I mean, how many of you out there listening to this call right now, how many of you have degrees you don't use? How many of you have degrees that were supposed to make you wealthy or get you a good job, and it's nowhere near what you were told that it's going to be? I bet a lot. If we could actually have you raise hands, I bet at least half of the hands in the room would go up. So we're taught how to solve math problems, but we're never taught how to solve financial problems. Although financial problems are the kind of problems we deal with 90% of time we're awake during the day. So I've got no money, I've got no business experience, I've got no business plan, I got no product, I got no skills. I get involved in my first online MLM. That was the next logical thing for me to do. And the first one was Global Domains International. If you don't know what the company is, you can actually check it out by Googling it. It's a company that gives you a website for $10 a month. And if you refer someone to get their website, you get $1, and then you can compound it into something like maybe $5,000 per month, which to me at the time was the dream income. Today, of course, if I make $5,000 in a day, I'm actually angry because that's just about enough to cover my expenses. So I joined the first MLM and I fail. I fail miserably. 6 months go by, I get nothing. I try to fake it till I make it. It just doesn't work. So I think, okay, maybe it's the bad offer. I join my second MLM, and then I join my third MLM, and I fail miserably in all of them the same way. Now, anyone ever found themselves with more coming out than coming in trying to make money from home? I bet you have. I bet you have. And, I said, wait a minute. How come I'm like supposed to be making money, but I'm kind of sinking deeper into debt all the time? So I started examining what I was spending money on, and it turns out I bought a tracking software, a domain name. I was paying for hosting. I joined a traffic exchange and upgraded to a pro account. I picked up a few home study courses in magnetic attraction, right? That was really, really popular at the time. Mike Diller, Jonathan Butt, all these guys. I purchased books about prospecting. I spent money. I was investing in myself. Now, today I see how that was a very smart decision, but at the time, all I could see was that, oh my God, I was spending more money than I was making. And then it hit me. While I was trying to mine the internet for gold, all these other people were getting rich selling picks and shovels, right? So there were a bunch of people like myself trying to make money in their MLMs, but there were also a bunch of people selling tools and products and services. So it turned out it was easier to sell programs, tools, and software to people who were already involved in network marketing than to recruit new people. And that's how I discovered affiliate marketing. I switched from promoting MLMs to marketing tools and educating MLMers. And so I go all in, right? I pick up a few offers. Most of them you don't even have to pay anything to promote. You can just grab a link and start promoting. And I build a bunch of landing pages with affiliate links of all kinds of tools, trainings, and software. I build a blog and write 500-word articles once a week. I create content for e-zine articles and become a top author over there. I become an active contributor to the Warrior Forum. I shoot one YouTube video a week about a random network marketing company and sort of like how you can like grow that company, even though I'm not even a part of it. But then I kind of push the tools. I create a bunch of social media profiles telling my story, trying to show people I'm a real person. I harass strangers on Facebook pretending to be their best friend. I got fake MySpace profiles going out there telling my story, and MySpace was actually still existed at the time. I even buy an automated Twitter software, which was really hot at the time, that adds 100 new followers a day to my Twitter account so I can tweet these guys. Now, if there was a marketing method that did not involve buying clicks or buying ads, I've tried it. And guess what? I started seeing a teeny weeny bit of results that are enough to give me what I was looking for. Proof of concept. And I was finally making money online. And I remember one day, and this is where that part, about quitting my day job too soon comes in. I remember one day I made a $1 trial for Jonathan Budd's MLM Mastermind system. And then this $1 trial turns into a $47 commission because the customer takes the first one-time offer. And then he takes the second one-time offer, and I make a total of $121 in commissions. Now, at the time, working housekeeping in a 4-star Dead Sea hotel called Israel, $121 may not seem like a lot of money to you, but for me at the time, that was a substantial amount of money. In fact, I had to scrub toilets for 4 days to make that kind of money. So my next genius move, I walk into my boss's office and I quit my job. I'm making money online now. I don't need you. That's what I'm thinking. So all I got to do now is just ramp up and kind of rinse and repeat what I have going on, and I'm going to skyrocket, right? It makes a lot of sense. Well, that's what I'm thinking. So for the next 8 months, I'll lock myself up in my bedroom and I rinse and repeat what I've done so far. Blogging, articles, forums, videos, social media. Blogging, articles, forums, videos, social media. And at that point, everything felt like the Groundhog Day. I was kind of stuck. Every day kind of seemed the same. It became very boring, but I thought, you know what? It's about hard work. Success is about hard work, which actually a misconception. Success is about working smart, not about working hard all the time. So 8 months go by. I blog and I write articles and I post on forums and I do videos and I do social media, and nothing happens in my business. Not a single freaking sale in 8 months. And remember, I just quit my job for the purpose of making money from home. And I haven't had a job in a month. I've got no cash. My parents are practically kicking me out of the house because they think I'm a deadbeat by now. I refuse to go to the army, right? I refuse to follow the path they kind of outlined for me. And I don't make any money, and I'm not making money online, and I refuse to get a job. So at the time, no one still believes that I will ever succeed, even me. Like, I'm still doing it blind, just completely blind faith, no proof whatsoever that I will succeed. So I swallow my pride and I go looking for a job again. Now, there was a vacant part-time position in a lottery shop in my town. So ironically, for the next several months, I made a living selling lottery tickets, the biggest get-rich-quick scam in history, but I couldn't push a single program as an affiliate to people who are already trying to get rich with network marketing opportunities online. So, ironic as it is, at this point, I'm upset, and that anger, or I guess anxiety or frustration, it gave me motivation. I don't know about you, but I'm usually motivated by the negative stuff, by the fear by the potential danger, by the said outcome that may appear in my life if I don't act. So I'm as determined as ever. I felt the humiliation. I felt, that embarrassment of working really, 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 really hard and not seeing any results in my business. So I decided to give this internet marketing thing one final shot. But this time, I vow to do it differently. I figured after trying to promote so many different offers, programs, and companies, it wasn't about what I was promoting, it was about who I was promoting it to and how I appeared in their world. So until now, I've only tried free traffic tactics. Even though I have very little money coming in, each month, I decided to give paid traffic a shot. So first, I run a PPV campaign. So that's when I show pop-ups on people's computers. Usually a person would have to download a freebie such as a screensaver app on their computer, and then it would start popping ads when they visit specific websites. I ran a few small tests, and after $700 of failed attempts, which again, as you remember, a lot of money to me, like ridiculous amounts of money, several weeks of hard work, I concluded this traffic source was too tech intensive for me, it was too expensive, and I couldn't keep up with all the tracking, the pop-up creation, the designers that I needed to hire, coding the pages. It just wasn't for me. The learning curve was incredibly long. So then I tried writing a Facebook ad. Now, I couldn't even get the damn thing approved. Anytime I'd submit my ad, it would get rejected because Facebook doesn't like make money online ads or, any ads that make any claims for that matter. And more recently, Facebook has been just kind of banning people left, right, and center who's involved in the make money online space. Again, if any of you ever ran a Facebook ad, you've probably either been warned about being slapped or you've actually been slapped, which is the professional term for getting banned. So I try Google AdWords. If anyone's got targeted traffic, I'm thinking it's Google. Like they got 80% of the internet's traffic flowing, into it. So yeah, sorta, they do because, it's Google. But if you're trying to compete for a competitive keyword such as work from home or make money online, it can literally cost you $15 per visitor. $15 per one visitor to your website. Now you have to be selling, $50,000 programs in order to be able to afford traffic that expensive. So, not to mention that I actually got banned from AdWords as well in my first week because they didn't like my ads. Again, another door shut. And that's when, in my last-ditch effort, I went looking for advice on the Warrior Forum, and I found a post where this nice fella, Matt Wolf, published a report about ad swaps. Turned out if you had an email list, you could swap mailings with other list owners. Now, if any of you don't know what a list is, it's an email list. It's your own database of targeted prospects that you can send emails to. And turned out, if you had an email list, you could swap with other people. You could swap with other people who had lists, and they could promote your stuff, and you could promote their stuff to your list. Now, you just had to know where these people were hiding, and at the time, they were hiding in secret Skype chat rooms. So after pulling a few strings and talking to a few people and buying a paid course, I've actually found a few of these Skype rooms. But I had a problem. The problem was I was not building a list at the time. I had no list. I had nothing to swap with. I think, I've only started building my list just recently at the time, and I had, I think, about 156 people on my email list. So no one would swap me. That's not even serious enough to approach anyone. So I come up with this crazy idea. What if instead of swapping ads, I bought a mailing from people who were swapping? I started approaching people, and soon enough, I had my first email promo lined up. Imagine my shock when I was able to purchase a promotion from someone else's email list, and it made me 3 sales. I felt like I hit the jackpot in Bellagio. Like I really felt like I figured it all out. But then I've got this doubt lingering. Is it dumb luck? Will it work again? Is this just a fluke? So I bought another email ad from another person, and then another, and then another. And I kept getting good results, and soon enough I had 3,000 subscribers on my email list, and I actually made a profit getting these people on my list. So I was paying for the ads, but the ads paid me back by people joining me in business, buying my products, buying through my affiliate links, etc., etc., etc. So I don't know if it was God or universe, but I was grateful for having discovered this method, which people refer to as solo ads these days. From that point, I grabbed onto this rope that got through me and grew my email list into hundreds of thousands within just a couple of years. Today, I never struggle to make sales. I never struggle to generate signups or get referrals into my businesses that I choose to promote. And I've also built a thriving company of internet marketers who use solo ads to build teams and dominate leaderboards in their respective companies. So I guess the point of this story is that paid traffic, and specifically solo ads, are freedom. And I'll explain to you what the solo ads are in just a minute. But before I do, I would like to discuss with you some of the challenges that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people who struggle to get leads through like social media and a lot of those legwork type of actions where they spend lots of hours each day behind their computer screen, but they never get anything. I also see how there's a lot of people out there, especially in the network marketing communities, even though they use the internet, and even though they use webinars, and even though they use social media, still they still do things the hard way, and they still do cold calling, they still do hotel meetings, they still kind of build their teams the slow way for some reason. And it really boggles me, because seeing that while being aware of a better way existing out there, just doesn't make any sense, because a mind once expanded doesn't shrink back. So the question that I have for you, right, have you ever felt there was a better way to get new signups? Have you ever felt there was a better way, you knew there was, but you just did not know what it is or where to look for it? Well, if you had that feeling, the great news is that there is, and I will introduce it to you in just a second. Now, before I do, I would like to share with you some of the issues I've observed with our traffic generation tactics, the traffic generation tactics that are available to us today. I'm talking about, on one hand, the free traffic strategies, and on the other hand, the paid traffic strategies, because both have their own problems. First, for example, the free traffic, right, it's too slow. No one can argue that. Free traffic is always going to be the slowest form of traffic ever, and for most people, even after they put in so much effort into building their traffic free, they get nothing to show for it. Now, it's also very tech intensive, because whenever you drive free traffic, you have to build a lot of content, and the content needs to be published in some way, shape, or form, whether uploading videos, whether putting up a website together like a blog or an authority site. You really have to understand tech. Now, the other downside is the content creation part of it, which requires you to be a freaking writer, right? I mean, I've tried the free traffic strategies, and I'm sure many of you too. And how much content do you really need to put out to attract one customer? I mean, I wrote dozens and dozens and dozens of articles each month to post on e-zine articles, to post on my blog. Like, I did all that work, I created all that content only to get maybe one sign up in 6 months. Like, that's just ridiculous. That's too much work. And if I would, calculate my ROI on the hours invested versus money made, it would pay me, dozens and dozens of times less than a McDonald's job would pay me. So the free traffic is too slow, it's too tech intensive, it's too content intensive, right? It is also very cold, meaning that people who find you through free traffic techniques usually do not take you seriously. They don't really put you in the regard as an authority, right? And it's also saturated, because most people out there, 90% of people out there, will always try to get customers using free traffic techniques. They are not willing to invest. So it's always going to be saturated, and you're always going to be competing in a very intense and competitive pool. Now, on the other hand, paid traffic has its downside as well. First off, it's very expensive. Like I've explained with Google AdWords, you could pay $15 for one click. You can't sustain that if you're a one-man or a one-woman show. It's also very tech intensive, but on the other side of it, where you have to install tracking, conversion pixels, you got to do split testing, heat map tracking, you have to understand, funnels and systems, like very, very tech intensive stuff. It's also too selling intensive because oftentimes it is cold. So, for example, if you ever tried running a Facebook ad before you got banned on Facebook, you may have noticed that Facebook, the people who click on your ads on Facebook, kind of are sort of reluctant sometimes to act with you because they know it's an ad, or just because they're busy trying to escape their own life and escape decisions. That's why they are on Facebook. If you ever thought about why people go on Facebook, usually because they go there to pass time, or when they just want to decompress, when they don't need to think. That's why they whip out their cell phone and start kind of mindlessly scrolling through their feed. So as I've explained, free and paid traffic have issues, and they often do not work for the average Joe. So what is then the secret to growing a successful business? What is the secret to having a system? What is the secret to having an ongoing stream of targeted leads for your business? Well, the secret is very simple. It is to target prospects who are already predisposed to respond to your offer. Let me repeat that. To target prospects who are already predisposed to respond to your offer. And you probably want to write this down, okay, if you haven't been taking notes so far, which I hope you have. So how can you know? How can you know whether or not they are predisposed to take action, whether or not they are already interested in what you got to offer? Well, based on them showing interest in similar offers in recent past. Now, what that means is that there's ways for you to find just the people who have acted on similar offers in the past, and by doing that, they raised their hand and said, okay, I am interested in this stuff. I am more likely to buy this, or I'm more likely to invest money into stuff like that than someone who has never done this before. Now, this, as well, logical as it seems, can make profound shift in your business. It has done for me. I stumbled into this concept by accident with solo ads, but I was finally able to reverse engineer it years later and understand why it actually worked. And I'll explain to you in a minute. But first, let me bring up Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. And Jeff Bezos is probably one of the brightest business minds in the world today, and he says, I very frequently get the question, what's going to change in the next 10 years? And that is a very interesting question. It's a very common one. I almost never get the question, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? And I submit to you that the second question is actually the more important of the two, because you can build a business strategy around the things that are stable in time. Let me repeat that in a more simplistic fashion. Fads do not last. If you follow fads, you will never build a business. Even if you succeed on a fad, you will lose the business very quickly because the fad will disappear. So rather than trying to predict where the world is going, it pays to look into the past and ask yourself, what has not changed in the last 5 years? What is not likely to change in the next 5 as a result? And that is the question you need to ask yourself. And the answer to that question is email. Email is not going anywhere. Email is still the primary media we use to communicate. Email is still the business media we use to communicate. When you talk to your banker and you try to get your mortgage documents approved, you use email. When you sign for a lease on a car, they ask you to email them the documents. When you talk to your real estate agent, you use email, or you call them, right? But you don't really, chat with them on Facebook. When you need to, like when you apply for an embassy or a passport or something, you will get an email notification saying that you've been accepted or rejected. So email is the personal media where people take action. And it has been proven time and time again that email subscribers and people who give out their email to businesses are always more profitable than social media consumers. In fact, I have a chart in front of me which I usually present visually when I speak or when I do webinars, which I of course cannot do right now. But this chart presents with 7 different traffic sources which go from top to bottom as follows. Direct, which means the person goes directly to your website because they know you and they heard about you. Paid search, which is Google AdWords. organic search, which is when people Google stuff and click on your website because it comes up on the first page, email, referral, when someone starts a three-way conversation and says, this person can help you, display, which is also known as native ads and banner ads, which you can probably see on websites such as Forbes.com when you read an article and you'll have a bunch of clickbait around it, and social network, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. So guess what? Email is ranking number 4 in assisted conversions, meaning on the total conversions generated on a case study campaign by MailMunch. But at the same time, email customer value, meaning average amount of money made per sale, is $14,897. Now compared to social network, which is only $737, that's actually 20 times. 20 times the value per customer. It's also higher in value per customer than organic search and paid search, which stand at $10,800 and $11,900 respectively. And the only thing that tops email is direct, meaning that the person has already been looking into you for a long time and they know you and they're finally ready to make a decision. That is when you get your most profitable customer. So based on this case study, what you can see is that email traffic is the single most profitable traffic source you can use. And the good news is that email traffic is probably the biggest traffic source you can use as well, because email as a traffic pool is much larger than social media, than Facebook. I think recently Facebook hit like 3 billion people or 2 billion people or something. Well, email is like 6 or 7 billion. Everyone has an email address. In fact, I want you to think about it this way. You need an email address to register a Facebook account. You need an email address to register pretty much anything. When I moved to Canada from Israel, they asked for my email address everywhere. When I was buying my first cell phone, when I was going to get my driver's license intact, when I was signing for my first house, like they always ask for your email. Email is the #1 money media. And so this brings us to the next question. What are solo ads? Well, solo ads are fixed cost traffic generation method that allows you to rent other marketers' email lists for one ad. That is why they're called solo ads, which means you get to instantly tap existing, acting, and targeted traffic sources on demand through email marketing, the best type of traffic of all. Now, another great thing about it, right, and this is where I'm going to get really excited, is no technical learning curve. Unlike most free traffic methods, unlike most paid traffic methods, solo ads do not require you to go through a steep learning curve to get started. You can literally get your first traffic, and when I say traffic, I mean ads or visitors, right? So just to make sure you get the lingo down, you can get traffic as soon as 24 hours from now or even sooner if you just go out there and start buying solo ads right now. And like I mentioned, it's pretty big. In fact, if you're promoting make money online stuff, to you, it's virtually unlimited. I haven't yet met a person, including myself, who was able to maximize the traffic pool in this industry for the work from home stuff. And as far as I was able to reach was 15,000 new leads per day. Okay, now tell me, even if you don't get 15,000 leads per day, even if you get 15 leads per day, even if you get 50, even if you get 150, that's still a substantial amount of new customers and new signups into your business. Now, the other benefit with solo ads is that it has no red tape. In other words, unlike Google, Facebook, YouTube, and all these other traffic agencies that ban you if they don't like the claims you're making, and let's be honest, if you're promoting an MLM company, that is very, very tricky to try and get people to pay attention without making any claims, because that's what that industry is all about. You have to make claims. You have to differentiate yourself. Well, with solo ads, you do not have to worry about that. You do not have to worry about anyone coming in and slapping you on the wrist for using a word or a sentence or making a claim that they don't agree with, even though your claim is perfectly legitimate. No one's going to do that with solo ads to you. So you can run ads any way you like, as long as the person you're running them with is, agrees to do that, which most will. And it's also, the other benefit is it produces fast results. You can see the results of a solo ad as soon as mere hours of running it, if not sooner, because it happens in real time. These are real people clicking on your link, reacting, watching your website, deciding to sign up or not sign up to your opportunity, MLM, program, or service. Now, there is a caveat which I have to mention, okay, because a lot of people get super excited about solos, but they forget about some of the important things. That is that solo ads are not a silver bullet. Yes, they're awesome. They're like really, really close to being a silver bullet, but they're not an actual silver bullet. They will not be, the push button solution that will forever fix all your life's problems. No, they have some downsides, and the downsides are that it is also, we spoke about framing just literally in the beginning of this call. So framing is when you can take one thing and you can frame it both ways, as positive as a negative. So with solo ads, because it's not regulated, because there's no one entity that says what you can and cannot do, and you're working with independent business owners, list owners, and just regular people who have audiences, solo ads are awesome. They're not regulated. It's just great. But at the same time, because they're not regulated, you're not protected, and you can get scammed. And there's three, popular ways solo providers tend to scam you. First off, they tend to email your promotions to a saturated list. In other words, a list of deadbeat subscribers that really cannot buy anything, either because they don't have the money or because they've been beaten to death with offers and they stop responding. So that's something to keep in mind. The other way you may get scammed is bot traffic. Bot is short for robot, which means there's people out there who see the demand for traffic in the industry, and they developed robots and crawlers that appear as if they come in on your website, as if they're real people, but they're not. They're not buying anything. So you see lots of clicks and lots of activity on your pages, but nothing's happening. And I've had this happen to me, where I caught someone injecting leads into my opt-in forms and then creating crawlers that would appear as if they are real, but they weren't. And I was able to identify them because I have sophisticated video tracking software that registered that the screen sizes on these supposed devices were unusual. They were so unusual that no normal person would be able to review the material on the website. And I confronted them about it, and they came clean, and I said, look, refund me. And at the time I paid them, I think $10,000 or $11,000 collectively over the course of 3 months. I said, refund all of my money or I go public. They refunded me. It was a couple of years ago. They're no longer selling traffic. They're out of the industry because they got caught many, many times over. But it is still a possibility for you to get scammed by buying fake traffic, fake clicks, fake solo ads. And third way, which I was most recently scammed by, is a black hat lead injection, where these shady traffic providers and traffic brokers would go into your page, find your code. They will get your opt-in form code or your order form code. They will place it on a different page, and they will trigger it as if they're sending traffic, but in reality, it's not happening. So you may have leads appear in your account, but those leads will not have any idea how they appeared in your account. They will hit the spam button a lot, and you will get your email software or email autoresponder account shut down. So you may want to watch out for that. Now, because solo ads are so amazing, but at the same time kind of dangerous. They're like a rose. A rose is very beautiful, but it has thorns. So we have to know how to pick up this rose in order to be able to smell it and enjoy it. I've prepared 7 questions for you to ask any solo provider you choose to work with. Remember, these are going to be just regular people, in order to prevent the possibility of them scamming you. Now, this is a part where you want to have notes, want to take notes. So I'll give you, 5 seconds while I take a sip of water to get your pen and paper ready. So we got 7 questions. The first question is, what offers what work best for your list? In other words, you're asking for the list owner you're negotiating with to let you know what type of offers work best with their list. And the reason that we want to ask that, we want to see whether or not they have any idea what actually converts, meaning that they are mailing that and they know what their list responds to, but also whether or not the offers that do work are alike the offer we promote. Now, most of the time, the answer is yes, it will be alike if it's a list in the make money online space, but it never hurts to double check. And it also pays to ask this question to see how the list owner responds, because, if the list owner does nothing but, mail silhouettes to his list, he has no idea what works, and he's actually not the kind of list owner you want to work with. You want to work with people who promote their list for their own sake and make money, so the list is potent. Now, the second question is, what offers do not convert with your list? Now, the reason this question is important, because it is more important to learn what didn't work than what did work. For me, anytime I have a marketing failure, when I launch an offer, launch a program, and it doesn't convert, at first I'm extremely upset, of course, because I put in a lot of effort and a lot of time, a lot of money to develop something. But at the same time, I then go and figure out why it didn't work. And as soon as I know, it gives a huge, huge leverage for me in my business, because it tells me what not to do in order to succeed. And by eliminating these things, the what not to do's, oftentimes we'll find ourselves just exponentially increasing our results. So, not to mention that if the list owner does not know, if they really just give you a vague and kind of general advice about what doesn't work, or tell you that, well, anything that's make money online actually does work, which is not true, then you're not talking to someone who takes care of their list, who really observes their results, who really takes and measures everything they're doing. So that's a question where you can potentially get a red flag. The third question is, what's the sales funnel you've used to build this email list? And this is important. You want them to show you how they build the list, and even show you the URL, the page where they had people sign up on the email list, so you can sign up on that list as well and see what they mail. For one, you do that to learn. And two, you also want to make sure that by the time they mail, you actually get the email with your offer, and you understand what's the psychology of the list and all the intricacies of how they market. This is actually pretty a good practice that I feel is mandatory for anyone running traffic. And I even, to this day, after being so long in this industry, still subscribe to people's lists. In fact, I'm on Peter's list. I'm on Omar's list. If Joe had a list I knew about it, I'd be on his list. But I'm pretty much on everyone's list. And I observe. I see what they mail. I see the offers, how they position them. I learn, even to this day. Now, the next question is, have you done any affiliate promotions in the last 30 days? If so, how did they go? Now, what's important for this one is that if they do not promote anything as an affiliate, it is really hard to gauge whether or not they'll experience success with your offer. Or should I say, whether or not you will experience success promoting your offer to their list. So you definitely want to work with people who have something to show when it comes to affiliate promotions, because that will let you know that they are capable of making sales for programs and products that are not just their own. Okay, it's really, really important. And you try to get some stats or screenshots or something, if they could give you. Now, this is not a deal breaker question for me, but it's definitely one that if they answer it successfully, kind of tips me over the edge and say, okay, I'm going to try you out. Now, it's also important for me to take just take a step back to the previous question. What's the sales funnel you've used to build your email list? Because another reason you want to sign up on the list to make sure that they actually promote you. Because some people, what they do, they resell your order to another solid provider that can basically deliver it cheaper, and they make money on the difference without having to mail their list at all. It's a common practice. There's people out there who make a living this way, and they usually try to sell you big packages because they make more money on volume. But you definitely want to work directly with the person who emails the list, because anyone who's a reseller is simply charging you more money for the exact same traffic you may already be buying. In my opinion, that's not a cool thing to do on their part. So the fifth question is, how long does it usually take to deliver? How, like, insert amount of clicks here. In other words, like, how long does it usually take to deliver 500 clicks? How long does it usually take to deliver 300 clicks, and so on? The reason you want to ask for this question is because you will then have a written confirmation of their promise of delivery. In other words, if you're buying a car and you're closing the contract and the salesperson tells you that it takes 2 weeks to deliver the car, but then they take 2 months to deliver it, obviously you won't be cool with it. Or if you're closing on a house, in the house terms, in the contract, you actually state how long is the closing. Is it 90 days? Is it 9 days? Is it 30 days? So the closing is important, and that is the exact same thing. How long does it usually take to deliver 500, 300, 200, however many clicks you're buying? And clicks are visitors. So I realize that some people may not be familiar with the lingo. Clicks are visitors. And solo ads are usually sold on a click basis. So they're sold in packages, 10, 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, depending on how big you'd like to go. The sixth question is, will you write the email swipe, also known as the email creative, or will I need to supply one? This is a very common question that people ask us with our traffic agency. Basically, my opinion on the email swipes that I prefer for the list owner to write it. Now, I also love to review it anytime I have a chance, but I prefer for the person who communicates with that list on daily or weekly basis to write the email creative in their own voice and language, which is what I do for my clients. I never allow my clients to write the swipes for me. I always write them myself. Again, an email swipe is the actual ad that goes out to the list. And it's also, convenient for you. If you've never written a swipe before, you don't know how to do that, then, it is very easy to just tell the list owner, you write the swipe and you show me what you got, and then whatever they wrote, that becomes your swipe for the next solo ad that you're going to run. So very cool. They usually will not charge you extra for it. And last but not least, the last question is, are there any guarantees? Now, I'll tell you up front that most solo providers will never give you any guarantees because they can't guarantee anything, and most of them don't even think in that direction because there's a hard cost of mailing their list. Some of them are nice people and they will try to make sure you're satisfied, but if you can get them to guarantee something, I mean, maybe a mailing date guarantee, right? So the ad goes out on such and such date at such and such time, or maybe a delivery guarantee. Your ad will be finished within 3 days or something. That still is better than getting no guarantees at all. So this concludes the questions that you can ask in order to prevent people from just pulling one over you really easily. Just by the fact of you asking the questions, they will not try to mess with you. Now, it is important, I once shared these questions with people on a training webinar. Then I noticed what they would do. They would go out to solar providers and they would just literally shoot the whole thing at them. Like, hey, my name is Joe. I would like to buy your solar. Please answer these questions. Bam, 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 bam. And you don't want to do that. You would you'd want to structure your conversation with the solar provider by asking one question at a time and keeping it conversational, because a solar provider that gets these questions and all 7 of them in the form of like a wall, they will not want to do business with you, and you will be shooting yourself in the foot by basically killing that relationship before it even started. So keep that in mind. Make it conversational and shoot one question at a time. They don't need to feel like you came there to interrogate them. They need to feel that you're just asking genuine, reasonable questions before you're committing. So now this is the exciting part, which you've been waiting for. Where do we get solo ads? Where do we buy solo ads? So I'll give you a couple of places you can go to get some cool solo ad traffic, to get some decent quality traffic. And I'll also warn you about a place or a couple of places you shouldn't go to. So, first place is the Warrior Forum. It's an internet marketing, biz ops, self-help, forex, dating, and weight loss traffic you can find there. It's a great place to start with internet marketing solo ads because the Warrior Forum is being heavily regulated, and people who don't deliver good services on the Warrior Forum usually get banned and booted off the forum. So if someone has been selling traffic on the Warrior Forum for, say, 6 months, it is almost a safe bet that they are doing a good job. Now, I can hear some disturbance on the line. If anyone's line is not muted, please mute yourself. So the next place is Archamax. Archamax is a place where you can get traffic for all niches. Now, when I say all niches, I mean pretty much for any market, because these guys are huge. They're incredibly huge, and they differ from most solo ad sellers because they offer different types of ads. You can get some short ads, some long ads. You can get a full email or a spot inside an email. So you need to go to Archamax and just kind of see what they got. They also offer bundle packages where you can get several placements at once for a really good price. Okay, so when you go to Archamax, just mention my name, mention Igor Kafetz, and they will give you a special deal. Okay, because Archamax are friends, and I always try to refer people to them because they're doing a great job, and if possibly get them to discount a little bit because because they can. Like Archamax can discount. So the other one is Nextmark. Okay, so the second one was Archamax. And the third one is Nextmark. Nextmark is sort of like the Google of lists, and what it does, it offers highly specific email lists, phone lists, and address lists. So this actually requires you to grab the contacts and load them into your own system to bulk mail. Now, if you're not experienced with bulk mailing, you probably don't want to do that. But if you are looking for very specific types of leads, and their phone numbers, maybe you want to actually do cold calling, who knows. I have a friend who actually does that. You go on Nextmark and you can cross-reference lists. You can get, for example, you can get self-employed people in Orlando in such and such zip code and making such and such money. Like, you can go really, really targeted with Nextmark. But it's not the same as other solo ad places because they don't just mail it for you, right? They just give you the data and you have to figure it out on your own. Now, number 4, solo ad marketplaces such as Udemy, Solo Checker, etc., etc., etc. These are primarily internet marketing business opportunity traffic sources. And what these companies do, companies like Udemy, is they are sort of like the Uber of solo ads. What they do is they connect the buyers and the sellers through one network, and they make an extra 15% every time there's a transaction. My personal advice, if you're brand new to solo ads, is to avoid solo ad marketplaces altogether because there's lots and lots of dirt on those marketplaces. You have to sift through lots of dirt before you find any gold whatsoever. I wouldn't label this as my safest bet. So only go there if you're experienced, and only go there with the mindset of trial and error, some heavy trial and error. Number 5, I would highly recommend to never just Google it. In other words, if you Google the term solo ads, you will find plenty of websites. A lot of them are exactly the same and no way to differentiate. You really have to investigate and research. So if you are brand new, please don't just Google the word solo ads and that's it. You have to do more research than that. You definitely want to review YouTube, because on YouTube there's also lots and lots of people who will recommend places to go to. There's going to be lots of people who actually recommend Udemy and solo marketplaces, but they will give you tips on how to find the best sellers on there. But whatever you do, don't Google it, and don't use Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are sort of like these little communities where solo ad sellers come together to sell really cheap clicks. But the place is, well, it lacks integrity. And what happens there, a lot of orders are being resold from one person to another, and you can always track these orders back to 1 or 2 people. In other words, imagine there's 2 people at the top of the pyramid who have all the traffic, and then they have all these little minions kind of trying to resell their traffic for them in those Facebook groups. So one person, say Joe Blow, comes in to buy some traffic, ends up buying it from 5 different solo providers, but actually pays for the exact same traffic only to 5 different people for different price because they all go and resell those orders to the guy at the top. So That's why I highly recommend staying off Facebook groups. No good traffic there at all. So from here, you're wondering where to go next. Well, the best solo ads that you can get are the solo ads that give you real visitors. This means you don't want to waste your time and waste your money on solo ads that do not create positive and meaningful results in your business. And that is why it's important you work with credible, solid providers, people who come highly recommended by industry leaders. Okay, and of course, what kind of marketer would I be if I wouldn't be talking about myself? So the reason Peter brought me on this call and Joe gave me such a glowing introduction is because I've been helping people grow their online businesses with home-based business opportunity leads for several years now, and I believe, done a really good job. We helped quite literally tens of thousands of people get their businesses off the ground, but they knew nothing about getting traffic, building a list, buying solo ads where their budgets were really, really low. Like, we help people in all kinds of situations with all kinds of companies, with all kinds of offers. And we've actually been helping people in Easy One Up and Wealth Center and other companies that Peter has created and been involved with for years. For years. Some of the biggest teams out there in those companies, they come to us for traffic. So that is why I am excited to invite you to follow their footsteps and visit us and have us help you grow your business. Okay, for that, you go to igorsoloads.com/PW. Okay, that's igorsoloads.com/PW. And this is a special link I set up specifically for Peter's friends, where I'm going to give you 100% top tier leads, meaning your leads will come only from United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. No third world countries, only countries that actually have people that can have credit cards, right? So they can buy something over the internet. People who speak English, people who can understand you, people have the same mindset as you. I will also give you a 10% click bonus, which is something I do for Peter's friends only, where you buy 500 clicks and you get 50 clicks for free. Or you buy 300 clicks, you get 30 clicks for free. You buy 1,000 clicks, I'll give you 100 clicks for free. Okay, so there's a 10% bonus with your every order. And I'm also going to give you a $150 discount for being Peter's friend and for being your first order on your first 500 click order with us. Now, additional, as a bonus, and this is up to you whether or not you want to claim this, I'm going to build you a free squeeze page with a 30% opt-in rate guarantee. This means if you're not happy about your landing page right now, I'll build you a new one. I'll hook it up to your email autoresponder account, and I will guarantee that from the traffic we run for you to that squeeze page, we will generate at least one person for your email list out of every 3 people who see it. So 30% opt-in rate. So that pretty much concludes my talk. Again, the link is igorsoloads.com/PW, or if you come to our main website at igorsoloads.com, simply mention Peter's name in the "How did you hear about us" box, and I'll make sure that you get the discount. So, Joe, Peter, we're still there? Fell asleep?
Yes, I am here. Igor, can you hear me? Am I coming through?
Yes, yes, sir.
Igor, I have 3 pages of notes here, and I want to thank you for the time that you have taken with us. And when you're talking about the 7 questions that you should answer people, ask people if you're looking to get into solo ads, I believe that I believe the answers we're looking for are the ones that you are providing. I want to thank you for taking the time to put that together. And I will tell you that I myself, in the past, and I hate to say I've been burned or scammed. I guess I just didn't do enough due diligence. But I remember spending hundreds of dollars for thousands of clicks and got nothing. Or I got clicks with no opt-ins. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
And I think it was injected traffic or bot traffic. It wasn't even people. So I know that you do have to be cautious. If I could, again, I'm going to announce the website again for those of you guys who want to take advantage of this. Remember, Igor is providing top-tier leads. What top-tier means is English speaking from first world countries. He's also offering a 10% bonus. So let's say if you get 500 clicks, he's going to give us 50 for free. There's also going to be a discount on the first order, and that's for Peter's group only. And also there's a free squeeze page, which is a $197 value with a 30% opt-in guarantee. Now here's the website. You guys ready? I'm going to give it to you again. It's www.Igor Solo Ads. Igor, IGOR, SOLOADS.com/PW. Igor Solo Ads/PW. I also want to say that Igor hosts a podcast, and I know he did interview. He mentioned some of the top people he'd interview, like really serious, powerful names, both in the direct selling and outside of the direct selling industry. And I know he recently interviewed Peter Wolfing, and you can get to the podcast because we'll be going live with the interview he did with Peter. I'm going to tell you where to get to Igor's podcast, and I'm recommending that everyone get there. Igor, I've just opted in to your site, your solo ad site, and I've accepted stuff. So you're going to be pushing me some stuff and give me some stuff. I encourage everyone to do this. Okay, I encourage you to get on board with IgorSleads.com, Igor Solo Ads, IgorSoloAds.com. And then he also podcasts the Life Building Lifestyle Show, just like it sounds. ListBuildingLifestyleShow.com. I'll say it again. ListBuildingLifestyleShow.com. Go there and you can subscribe to the podcast and you can hear more from Igor on a regular basis. Igor, I want to thank you again for sharing so much time with us here today. And I understand that what you just shared with us was the audio portion of what is a webinar. So
That's
I would
correct.
encourage everyone. And where can is there a place where we can see your presentation again? Because it is worth it.
I will absolutely send it over to Peter, and hopefully if you guys have a members area, I'm sure he can send it. So I'll be happy to share it. Absolutely, the questions and the places to go, and some of the key things I've mentioned about the do's and the don'ts.
Mm-hmm. You know, it is important because I've been online for years, probably, before you were born. You're only 29 years old.
I get that a lot.
Okay. And I've got to say, and I did spend some time in the traffic side of the industry, working with a traffic vendor, and it is perilous. It is definitely choppy water, rough road, call it what you will. So you have to be cautious, you guys. If you're going to get into solo ads, they're very, very effective, but you have to be very aware of who it is that is running the ads for you. So Igor, thank you very much. And I'll tell you, one time when I first met you, Igor, we met through a mutual friend. I think it was Devon Brown. And I want to tell you that I sent you over a page. He says, okay, well, let me see what you're marketing. And I sent you over a page. I was repping for another company. And I remember you said to me, you know what? I can't help you because that page is not really going to convert with the traffic that I'm creating. And I thought that said so much about your credibility. Rather than just try to slam me into a program and get me on auto ship, you actually said, you know what? It's not going to work. Take your money somewhere else, which I really appreciate that transparency that you shared.
Well, my pleasure, because at the end of the day, I win when you win. Right? If you run traffic and you don't get results, you don't come back to run more traffic. You don't get to improve your life. I don't get to say that I was able to positively influence someone else's life. And obviously, there's no reason for anyone to run traffic to offers that don't convert. And having run so much traffic to so many offers, I've got an eye for what works. So I'm happy that I was able to contribute to you, even though it's not by providing the leads, but even so, just stating that this particular offer, the way that it's presented right now, did not work. And I honestly believe that that's what a good solid provider is supposed to do.